My parents and my sister got my 15-year-old daughter temporarily suspended from school. She is a disappointment just like her mom, my sister said, after they all decided to lie to get her expelled. I didn't yell. I did this. 6 days later, they were screaming in panic. I had just set my coffee down when the phone rang. Caller ID. The school, Mrs. Harper. The secretary sounded like a courtroom clerk. Flat. Precise. We need you to come in. There was an incident last night. A school bus was set on fire. The investigation is ongoing. Please arrive by 9:30 without your child. Riley Morgan is already here. Arson, a bus and my daughter. No explanation, no context, just instructions. 20 minutes later, I pulled into the school parking lot. Nearly empty except for a sheriff's cruiser. Everything looked normal, but it felt wrong, like the kind of silence right before a siren starts. The assistant principal met me at the door, not my mother, even though she's the principal here. She'd been temporarily recused from all disciplinary procedures to avoid a conflict of interest. Standard phrasing, which meant it was prepared in advance. They walked me to a conference room. Waiting inside, a school attorney, the discipline coordinator, and someone from the school board. All three with legal pads and folders, trained faces, blank expressions. On the table, a printed document titled Temporary Student Suspension Notice. 6 days until the disciplinary hearing next Tuesday. Why, my daughter? I asked right away. What do you have? One of them nodded, opened a tablet. Security camera footage. Timestamp. 9:43 p.m. last night. A hooded teenager walks up to the bus, throws an object. A few seconds later, flash fire. No injuries, another added. The damage is serious, but no casualties. Fire department confirmed it was intentional arson. And you think my daughter did that? The identity is unconfirmed, the attorney said, but the person in the video is wearing a dark blue jacket with white stripes. Same design Riley Morgan owns. Height and build match as well. That jacket was sold everywhere, I said. Half the school wears them. Regardless, he said, given the circumstances, we are required to suspend the student pending further review. Standard precaution. I was about to demand to see the video, but he cut me off. The footage will be presented at the hearing. Not before, of course. I saw Riley Morgan through the glass partition on the way out. She was sitting on a bench, arms wrapped around her backpack, head low, shoulders tight. I know that body language. That's not fear. That's undeserved shame. We walked to the car in silence. When I started the engine, she asked, "Do you believe me?" I nodded. That was all she needed. At home, she barely touched her lunch. I opened my laptop and started reading through the school handbook, especially the discipline section. It was all procedural, cold, but between the lines, I could already feel the verdict. Later that afternoon, Riley Morgan spoke again. Last night at the party, I left my jacket in the coat room. When I came back, it was in the same place. A pause. Grayson was there. Grayson, my nephew, my sister's son, goes to the same school, same grade, same class, same jacket. Even when Riley Morgan won the math Olympiad, he rolled his eyes. When she got praised for her essay, he turned one in the next day. When she made finals in the science fair, he muttered, "Well, her mom's an IT nerd." I texted Mary, "Please refrain from spreading rumors and respect each family's privacy." Rumors were already spreading faster than their PR statement. 40 minutes later, I got a call from the cashier at the local grocery store. Mrs. Harper, I just wanted to say, we heard. If you need anything, we're here. Thanks." Sure. But moral support from the checkout line doesn't really help when your kid's being accused of felony arson. At 10:17 p.m., the formal notice came in. Scheduled hearing, list of participants, protocol, format, everything cold, everything polished, but I could read between the lines. Your daughter will be expelled. Just show up and watch. Before bed, Riley Morgan came into my room. Starprint pajamas, her forehead warm from tension. If they kick me out, will you still be on my side? I pulled her close. I'm already on your side, and I'm not going anywhere. After she fell asleep, I sat in front of my laptop, reading the policy again. Line by line, one thought kept circling. If someone took her jacket, there was a reason, and if that someone was Grayson, he had a motive. But for now, it was just a theory. No proof, no video, no confession. They think I'll just sit back, that I'll show up at the hearing, nod politely while they say we're disappointed in your child, and leave quietly. They're wrong. I didn't always used to be like this. Quiet, controlled, strategizing my words like chess moves. There was a time when I argued, when I explained, when I believed that if I laid things out calmly, clearly, logically, someone would actually listen. Spoiler alert, no, they don't. Growing up, I was always the backup file. You know, like when a system crashes and it switches over to the emergency version. That was me, the fallback. Because the primary model, the one that mattered, was Mary. My older sister was the golden child, the blueprint, the one who smiled on cue, wore unstained dresses, and never talked back. She grew into exactly what our parents wanted: neat, moderately successful, and entirely inoffensive. When I chose computer science, my mother said, "Tech isn't a career for women." When I won a scholarship for a coding program in college, she said, "Well, maybe you'll find a decent man there." When I landed my first job in a big firm and bought a car with my own money, the reaction was, "At least you're not wasting money on silly things." Not. The burnt charcoal smell hits Riley Morgan the moment she steps into the McDonald's parking lot. It drags her back, straight to that sticky, humid gym at school. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead, flickering like a bad memory. She sees her mom, calm but tense, lifting the pride projector onto her shoulder. Riley's heart pounds, thumping against a metallic tinfoil trophy, the floor beneath her sneakers slick with spilled soda. Then comes the sound, Grayson's voice slicing through the air, loud and sharp. She just copied code. The chalk dust hangs heavy, prickling her throat. She breathes in fear, confusion. How could brilliance become a brand for theft? How did a girl who only wanted to prove herself become the villain in her own story? Riley is just 14. Bright, stubborn, always questioning. But now, the people who should have had her back, family, school, they turned away. The same halls that once held her promise now echo with whispers and blame. She's been pushed out, expelled, labeled guilty of arson she didn't start. Her mom, Elena, stands steady beside her. Calm, strategic, determined to fight, even when the whole family has turned cold. They want a quick story, Elena says quietly. One where the truth doesn't matter. But truth isn't that simple. It's tangled in jealousy, fear, and old wounds. When Riley's math wins are dismissed as luck, or her science project called a cheat, the question lingers. Why is being smart such a threat? Why does her own brother watch her with contempt, not pride? The school dance felt like the last straw. Navy and white jackets everywhere, school pride, except for Riley, who wore hers with a small owl pin, a symbol of wisdom, a quiet rebellion. But it wasn't enough. The whispers grew louder. The accusations came faster. Elena remembers the early days, raising Riley alone, reminding her, it's okay to be smart. It's not a crime. But now, that message feels fragile. The family that once celebrated ordinary moments now fractures under suspicion. How do you fight when the system is set against you? When the ones meant to protect become the loudest voices blaming you? Elena knows this isn't just about one girl. It's about fairness, about justice in a world ready to punish the misunderstood. Riley's story isn't just about a lost fight. It's about resilience, about standing up when everything tries to break you. Because sometimes, the hardest battles are the ones fought in silence. Who gets to decide the truth? And what happens when the truth is drowned out by fear and doubt? This is more than a story of a girl and her mother. It's a mirror to every family struggling with trust, every teen fighting to be seen for who they really are. The fight isn't over. It's just beginning. Riley Morgan was 14, inconvenient and brilliant. Mother Elena, calm, strategic, stood beside her. They wanted them quiet, quick fix before reporters smelled scandal. Not happening. Flashback, 6th grade gym, science fair night. Vinegar fizzed. Riley's volcano glittered. Pink ruby sparks hiss-crackle in cotton candy lights. Crowd awed. Principal Hopper patted a donor kid. Ignored her. Applause turned to polite clap. Glitter drifted to floor like shame. First taste of unfair. 12 years later, the same taste coats every breath. Later that morning, rain scent seeped through half-open window. Leaf rustle soft as secrets across lawn. Riley sat cross-legged on couch, laptop glowing. Elena paced, tablet in hand, screen dark, stalling. Mom, worst way. Already coming. Charged silence vibrated. Thunderstorm without thunder. A muted train horn echoed. Distant freight on rusty rails. School's message, you're safer at home. Suspended after one pixelated hallway clip. Same blue jacket every sophomore owns. Quick and neat. They'd underestimated what calm courage can do. Elena watched Riley type. Not gossip sites, school portal admin tier, teacher gradebooks, attendance logs, Riley Morganside passwords hidden like candy wrappers. How? Grandma, Summer, left browser open. Small crumb of data. Footprints in code. Elena smiled once. Small, tight. Justice doesn't wait for permission. Another raindrop taps glass. A new day braces on the tracks. I remembered. I have never been so proud and so terrified at the same time. She clicked in. Technically, she clicked. I just sat there with my hand on the mouse like I was contributing, like I was guarding something sacred. Look, she said, these are the 5 official videos they already showed, but there's another folder, archived exexed. It's hidden. Doesn't show up in the regular dashboard. You have to open it manually. She showed me old security footage, backup feeds, test runs, and one file with no name, just a timestamp. Yesterday, 9:41 p.m. I clicked. The video loaded slowly. Ancient server, probably dial-up speed. The image stuttered, grainy. The camera was positioned high up near the side entrance facing the bus lot. At first, nothing. Then a figure walks into frame. Male hoodie, same jacket. Walks fast, doesn't look around. He's carrying a bag. He sets it down behind the back wheel of a bus. Pulls out a lighter. Click, flame. 5 seconds later, flash. And then he turns. Just a little. Enough. That jawline. That nose. That face I've known since it was in diapers. Grayson. I hit pause. Riley Morgan didn't blink. I knew it. She whispered. He was by the lockers. He looked at my jacket like he was planning something. I rewound, played it again, froze the frame. It was clear. His profile, his build, his movements. The jacket looked like hers because it was the same make. We bought hers on clearance. He had joked about it once. Twinsies winner gets bragging rights. Back in the root folder, I noticed something. Viewed. The file had already been opened. Same night, 12:26 a.m. Someone else saw this already, I said quietly. Riley Morgan frowned. But they told us that camera was offline, that there was only one angle. I checked the metadata. The file had been accessed once from an administrator account. Username Barbara.J, my mother, the school principal, the woman who should have protected her students, the woman who signed off on her granddaughter's suspension without hesitation. The smell hit first, cold nacho cheese from the snack bar, mixed with that sharp September air still carrying chlorine ghosts from gym class. Riley's fingertips tingled where the classroom door slammed shut behind her. The memory was searing. Her cousin pulling a hoodie over her head after lab, whispering, almost kindly, "Just say you did it, Riley. They'll go easier on you." The hallway lights flickered. Someone's vape clouded the moment. She tasted metal. the same panic coating her tongue when arson rang out over the intercom like a verdict already sealed. She'd been scapegoated, targeted by both family and school, but Riley wasn't broken. She was resilient, and she was determined to find the truth. Later, Elena Morgan sat quietly, laptop open, watching the grainy security footage again. The camera near the side entrance showed a figure, a boy in a hoodie, moving fast, carrying a bag. 5 seconds later, a flash. The face came into view. Grayson, Riley's cousin, the very person everyone had protected, even while throwing Riley under the bus. Elena's hands trembled. She closed the laptop carefully, poured a glass of water, and drank slowly. "We're not backing down," she said quietly, returning to Riley's side. They copied the video everywhere. Flash drive, cloud, external hard drive. No risk, no mistakes. Hours later, Elena confronted her mother, the school principal who had signed Riley's suspension without hesitation despite knowing the truth. The family gathered, tension thick in the air. They admitted they'd all seen the footage. They'd chosen silence to protect Grayson. To them, he was the boy with a future. Riley, just a girl, an inconvenient truth. Elena listened. Then she walked out. "You're betraying the family. You'll ruin everything," they yelled after her. She didn't look back. That night, the school sent a reminder. The hearing was set for 10 a.m. The board and parents only. Closed doors? Perfect. But Elena and Riley, they were ready. The fight for justice was just beginning. The sharp scent of burnt paper still hung in the air. Riley Morgan's fingers trembled as she held a charred notebook, edges blackened and fragile. The distant crackle of flames echoed in her mind, mixing with the soft, steady voice of her mother, Elena, whispering calm reassurance. Around them, cold stares from family and school staff blurred into a haze of betrayal. But Elena's hand on Riley's shoulder was warm, steady. That moment, raw and clear, fueled their quiet determination. They weren't just fighting for Riley's name. They were fighting for the truth. Closed doors. They thought that meant silence. But Elena and Riley had something the school didn't. Proof. A flash drive tucked in a jeans pocket, a hard drive hidden away, and a cloud copy no one could erase. They were ready. The school had cameras. They had the truth. And they weren't afraid to use it. "I'm Elena Morgan," she said quietly, standing outside the school. "If someone told me 5 years ago I'd be facing my own mother in a room like this, I wouldn't have believed it." The taped sign on the door fluttered in the wind. Disciplinary board meeting. Admission by invitation only. Like it was some secret rite, not a hearing deciding her daughter's future. Riley walked beside her, ponytail tight, no makeup, no complaints. Just that fierce, steady look, the same stubbornness Elena saw in herself after years of hard lessons. Inside, everything was the same. The discipline counselor, the attorney, 2 board members, and Elena's mother, the school principal, her usual blazer. But her eyes, cold, empty. She didn't speak, but her presence was like a draft sneaking under a locked door. The meeting began with the usual script. Today, we review the incident involving the school bus fire. Student Riley Morgan was suspended pending investigation. Elena raised her hand. "Excuse me, we have evidence that needs to be reviewed before any decisions are made." The school attorney looked at her like she'd just interrupted a Supreme Court ruling. But Elena didn't flinch. This was their moment. The truth was finally coming out. The memory floods back, Riley's hands trembling as the acrid smoke fills the night air. The sharp sting of burnt wood burns her nose. Flames crackle in the distance. Her mother's voice cuts through the chaos, calm but urgent, calling her name. The cold night air clings to her skin, mixing with a heavy weight, fear, isolation, and the crushing unfairness of being blamed for something she didn't do. That moment, raw and vivid, didn't break her. It lit a fire inside her, a fierce determination to fight back, to find the truth no one wanted to see. Now, standing in that tense room, Elena Morgan cuts through the silence. "That kind of material should be submitted in advance," she says firmly, holding up the flash drive. The screen flickers to life. Grainy black and white footage from the school's own security cameras. Timestamp, 9:41 p.m., the night of the fire. A boy in a dark jacket moves stealthily behind the building, carrying a box. He sets it down behind the bus, strikes a match. The flames ignite. "That's not my daughter," Elena states calmly. "That's Grayson Bennett." The room falls into a heavy silence, thick with shock and disbelief. The lawyer's eyes dart between the screen and Elena's mother, the school principal. One board member finally breaks the quiet. "Can you confirm the authenticity of this video?" Elena nods. "It's from your own server, and this file, it had already been opened, from an admin account, from the principal's account." All eyes snap to the principal. She sits still, her usual confident mask fading. When she finally speaks, her voice is low, measured. "I saw the footage a few days ago, but I wasn't sure. It was complicated. Grayson is my grandson. I didn't want to jump to conclusions." The school lawyer's voice cuts in sharp and cold. "You withheld direct evidence and allowed an innocent student to be suspended. That violates your professional duties." The board leaves for a private session. Elena stands beside Riley, finally holding her hand. Riley is trembling, not with fear, but with a quiet, burning rage, the kind you carry deep inside where words can't reach. 20 minutes later, the board returns. The verdict: Riley Morgan is fully cleared. The suspension is lifted, all records corrected. A pause hangs in the air. Then the final blow: Principal Bennett is removed from her position, effective immediately. An interim administrator will be appointed within the week. Elena doesn't look at her mother. She only squeezes Riley's hand tighter, and together they walk out, free at last. In the car, Riley Morgan asked, "What about Grayson?" "The police have been notified. The school is submitting the full report. His family will be responsible for restitution." Later that day, we got the notice. Damages $12,437. His parents would have to pay. If they refused, the school would file a civil suit. The next morning, my sister texted me, "You betrayed the family for some random girl." I didn't reply. I blocked her number because Riley Morgan is not some random girl. She's my daughter, my pride, my choice every single day. A week later, we went back to school. Same lockers, same halls, same faces. But now, the looks had changed. Some held respect, some caution. No one whispered anymore. When I walked Riley Morgan to class, we passed the wall of administrative portraits. Her grandmother's nameplate was gone. Just a blank space left behind. A silence where a lie used to sit. I didn't feel triumphant, no joy, just a deep breath and a quiet kind of peace. They tried to protect their name. I tried to protect my child. And maybe it's not up to me to decide who lost, but I know exactly who won. If any of this hit home for you, tell me, what would you have done? Would you have stood by your family or the truth? Subscribe if you want to hear more stories like this. Sometimes just knowing you're not alone makes all the difference.